I believe the very first magic trick that I ever purchased was in the Houdini Magical Hall of Fame in Niagara, Canada. Niagara Falls, part of it is in Canada and part of it is in the United States. And I remember we went to the Houdini Hall of Fame. I was probably around 12 years of age. Mom and Dad and me and Danny and Howard and Dean Bain and their 3 kids, Glenda and Sandy and Jimmy. We went through Canada. We were going up through Michigan to see our relatives there. Went across Canada and came into Ontario, saw the falls. Went over to the United States and saw the falls there. It's a wonderful visit there to see that, the works and wonders of God. But we visited the museum. I think they had perceived that I'd had a fascination with Houdini, but I was enamored with Houdini's escape artist skills. I used to ask my brother or my mom or my dad to tie me up with clothesline rope to see if I could get away. Sometimes I couldn't. But I found out later on that Houdini was a great magician. But when you go through the Houdini Magical Hall of Fame, you know what you wind up at when you finish the tour? The gift shop. They want you to buy something. And I bought a magical Svengali deck of cards, my first magical deck of cards. And I bought a set of cups and balls, not this very one. When I had the joy of going over to India back in 1974, I saw an Indian fakir sitting outside of a motel, very fancy, high-class motel, and he was sitting on the ground out there doing magic tricks, and one of the tricks that he did from antiquity was the cups and balls. Well, I have, these are, I hope maybe one day that I'll have a chrome-plated set of cups and balls, because I've always looked at those and wished I had a set, but I've always just had the plastic ones, some not quite as upscale as these. A yellow cup, red, blue. I've got a golf ball right here. Now, if you've ever played golf with me, this is the only magic I can do with golf balls. When I'm trying to hit a golf ball with a club, it's not magical at all. And I do make a few balls disappear, but I almost always know where they're at. Now, these are just simple cups, as I said, and I want to talk with you a little bit today as a part of our Lamb service about seeing and believing. That's a common theme with my object lessons. I like to create the impression that something has vanished or disappeared, or that it's reappeared, or it's transferred from one place to another, and all of that is just entertainment and imagination. And I believe you have to have a sanctified imagination. You have to be willing to accept the possibility that there are things that we can't see that are believable. And also that many of the things that we can touch, feel, and handle and see are not real. That many of the things that, I'm just going to take this golf ball and I'm going to put this under the yellow cup. Now the blue cup and the red cup are a little ways apart from that. But what I want to show you is that if I take my magic wand here, that you know that there's really no such thing as magic, no real wizardry or sorcery. But if I tap on the red cup here with my magic wand, you can see that the ball moves from the yellow cup to the red. Now as it does this, as I said, it's just creating an illusion, creating the impression or the appearance of magic when there's really no magic at all. I can actually tap this and tap that and actually make it leave the red cup and go back to the yellow cup. That's the point of it. I don't know how many times this has happened over the years, but I'll be performing magic for a child, and they'll say, I know what's going on. I see that it's a trick. And I say, yes, it is a trick. And the trick, it's intended to be a trick. That's what it is. It's a trick. And but I'm happy to have them think that they've figured it out, that it actually is just just a trick. So that's what this is. Now, the things that I believe in about God are not tricks, and the miracles are not simply illusions or pretense or for entertainment. As I said, I've spent a part of my faith life and my faith walk going to the places where Jesus fed the 5,000. Do you know if you go to a little place called Tagba in near Capernaum, between Capernaum and Bethsaida, that is the place where it describes that Jesus fed thousands of people with just 2 fish and 5 small loaves of bread. There's a really old church there that has a mosaic in the tile floor showing, it's just thousands of, I mean not thousands, but hundreds and hundreds of years old, back to the almost to the 6th, 7th century, a tile mosaic showing 2 fish and 5 loaves in that mosaic. And you know, that happened 2,000 years ago, and they're still talking about it, and I saw thousands of people going there to that place to see where it happened. A number of years ago, someone asked Hank Williams Jr. about the continued popularity of his dad's music. Dad was Hank Williams Sr., of course. Said, what do you think about the people are still, and Hank Williams Jr. said, well, he says, it's just an amazing thing. He says, I love to sing, and I've made a good living recording songs, and I've had some big #1 hits. But he said 50 years from now, he said, nobody's going to be singing my songs. That may or may not be true. But Hank Williams Jr. said, no, in 50 years from now, nobody in the world is going to be singing my songs. And they're still going to be singing Hank Williams Sr.'s songs. Well, people are still talking about what Jesus did. And we saw thousands of pilgrims, people going to the place to see this is where it happened. And it's important. These are not mythological sites. These are not fictional stories. There is a place where it happened. There were people who were eyewitnesses, and they wrote it in the scriptures. And it was not a series of growing and expanding fairy tales that developed around the campfire or at the bedtime story time, but there are things that were recorded there from people who saw it happen. And we believe that witness. We believe that witness. We believe that testimony. We believe there's great integrity in the record and in the story. The story of Christmas is not just a pageant. It is history. And it's an important part, the most important part of human history. Danny, if you would sing for us, and we're going to look a little bit further today about what happens to us